One day, there was a girl who couldn't move and was sitting in a wheelchair in front of a river. Her name was Michaela, and she was reading the letter her brother Leonardo sent her. He wrote, "Hi Michaela, I'm okay, it's already been half a year since I came to this city, and I'm embarrassed I'm only writing you now after such a long time. The city I'm in is really chaotic, and any stranger is just normal for them. I'm trying to survive here somehow, going through good and bad days. Last year when I left you I felt like my life had no meaning or value. From my point of view I was just a useless, clueless kid, and nothing's changed since. But sometimes I feel like I was wrong, and I want to tell you about the things that changed how I see myself, the things I saw and the people I met in this city. It might be a long story, but I want you to listen till the end. I'm in a city called Hellsalem's Lot, and it's so strange that people here are always fighting and robbing each other, salaries are super low, and it's hard to build any relationships. One day there was an explosion that opened a gate to another world, and from then on the world changed drastically and became surrounded by a weird fog. That's when the US government made a statement about the problem, and the fog got denser and surrounded the city, and strange creatures started to appear and invade. No one ever imagined creatures like this even existed, and humans still don't know anything about that other world. But the US president started cooperating with those creatures, and now they live among people like it's normal. On the other side, Leonardo was in a restaurant, and Vivian the waitress told him, "I told you before, you need to contact your sister more often. Even if things are stable, family should still worry about each other." She asked, "What are you even doing alone in this city?" Leo felt hopeless and said, "I'm a journalist in training." But she knew he was lying from the sound of his empty stomach. She said, "So you're a journalist who came all this way just to starve? You're weird." He replied, "I think I'm just normal." She gave him a plate of food and told him, "This isn't free. You'll wash the dishes when you're done." He felt guilty and said he didn't deserve this. She told him, "My conscience won't let me ignore one of our regulars who's always hungry." Suddenly, a monkey ran by and stole his camera and disappeared. Leo left the food and ran after it. The waitress was confused why he did that, and one of the monsters told her, "His camera was stolen without you noticing, because the thief was a monkey that moves at the speed of sound, faster than human eyes can track." She was shocked that Leo, a human, actually saw it. And that's where Leo's strange journey began. While chasing the monkey, he suddenly found himself in the middle of an armed robbery with gunfire. An explosion threw him, and when he got up, a guy had his foot on his face saying, "You dumb rookie. I'm Zap Renfro, you didn't show up where we agreed, and now I find you here about to die." That was one of the members of Libra, the group Leo was searching for, an underground society of superhumans fighting to maintain balance between worlds in Hellsalem's Lot. Leo realized Zap mistook him for someone named Johnny Lands. On the way, Zap told Leo, "This city used to have power and respect, but now it's full of criminals, terrorists, shady organizations, mafia, refugees, and spies from every country. They all want to control this place for the next 1,000 years, and only those who control Hellsalem's Lot can do that. Our team risks their lives daily to stop dangerous people like that, so don't be a burden, Johnny." When they reached the group's secret base, they were welcomed by the leader Klaus von Reinhers, and with him was one of their members, Chain Sumarajai, who was shocked when she heard his name because Johnny Lands had just died. Leo panicked. He dropped to the ground and apologized, saying, "There's something I need to know at any cost, and I thought you'd know since you have info about the other world." Suddenly, the TV turned on, and they saw the news of the criminal who did the robbery getting arrested. They saw him getting split in half and a demon coming out of him, killing everyone around. A live broadcast started with a man saying to humans, "I'm the masked ghost who rules Hellsalem's Lot and the king of corruption. My name is Femt, and I'm bored to death because of you all, so I decided to play a game to entertain myself." Suddenly the monkey with Leo released a demon aura and destroyed the building. Femt said, "The game has already started, and the rules are simple. Find the gate that split the thief in half and destroy it before the demon gets there. The gate opens every few minutes, so take advantage of the slicing party that happens each time to find it. If the demon finds the gate before you do, I can't even describe the horror that'll happen." Zap grabbed Leo, thinking he was part of what was happening because the monkey was with him. Klaus told him, "Let him go, the gate might actually be the monkey." The monkey ran, and Chain chased after it. Leo told Klaus his real name and thanked him for saving him when the building collapsed. Klaus asked, "Were you able to see that attack?" Leo said yes. Zap was shocked and said, "How? I only saw a glimpse." Klaus told him to be quiet and asked Leo, "What's the answer you want to know at any cost? And does it have to do with your eye?" Leo told him that 6 months ago he was on a trip with his family to Hellsalem's Lot looking for a cure for his sister who hadn't walked since birth. Suddenly a giant monster appeared and told them to choose who would be the witness. They both understood it meant whoever wasn't chosen would go blind. Zap got angry and said, "So since you can still see, does that mean you sacrificed your sister?" Leo cried and said, "I couldn't move. I was just a coward." He told them his sister told the monster, "If you're gonna take something, take it from me." Suddenly, they were shot at by helicopters from the special ops team, who yelled, get down and put your hands on your head. Klaus said to Leo, now I understand your ability and the circumstances that gave it to you, that's why I'll make a deal with you, your ability is probably what's going to control the situation we're in, so I want you to help us with our goal and we'll help you with yours. From now on, you're a member of Libra. Robots landed from the helicopters and surrounded them. Klaus told Zap, don't fight back, the real battle isn't here, so save your strength. Then he told Leo, you're not a coward, because you chose to stand and keep going instead of giving up. As long as a person can face the light and walk toward it, even a single step, then the human spirit can never truly be defeated. He used the brain grid technique, a bloody martial arts move, and took out all the robots around them in one strike. Zap and Leo sped off on a motorcycle chasing the monkey. Leo asked, do we have to kill the monkey? Zap said, yeah, the monkey is the gate and we have to destroy it. Leo replied, but the monkey didn't split in half like the thief. Suddenly, the gate reopened and the monkey was near them. The bridge they were on collapsed, and Leo flew off and saw Vivian under the crushed rocks. She told him, run, the monster could attack any second. But he decided not to be afraid and said, wait for me, I'll come back and save you. I still didn't wash the dishes like you told me. Suddenly, the demon appeared behind him and just before it cut him in half, Zap saved him and said, we have to end this before that demon reaches the gate and the gate opens again and destroys the city. I'll handle the giant demon, and you take care of the monkey. Zap noticed Leo wasn't scared this time and admired the determination in his eyes. He took out his lighter and used the star technique of bloody arts. The lighter turned into a sword, and he dashed at high speed, slicing the demon into pieces. Leo ran toward the monkey, and the demon started regenerating. Before it could grab Leo, Zap appeared again and sliced it up, burning it. Leo stood in front of the monkey and opened his eye, which activated. He saw a bug in the monkey's hair and destroyed it instead of killing the monkey. Fenth was shocked that Leo didn't kill the monkey and his plan failed. He wanted Leo to kill it so the demon could merge with it and destroy the city. A month later, Leo was working as a delivery guy, and on the other side, Klaus was sitting with one of the Libra members named Steven, telling him, the great eye Leo has is said to see the future and the past, but it's still a mystery. Even in the other world it's considered a rare ancient artifact, and many beings are trying to get it at any cost, especially if they find out it's with a Libra member. I just hope nothing bad happens. At the same time, every time Leo went to deliver an order from the restaurant, Zap would show up and steal it from him. One time, Zap got on with him, and on their way, Zap used his blood ability and picked up a coin from the ground. Leo was surprised and asked, you really use your power for petty things like this? Zap replied, even samurais use their swords to cut food if they don't have a knife. So Leo asked him, is your ability to control blood similar to Klaus's? He replied, kind of, but the effect is different because our styles aren't the same. The boss's style specifically is dangerous. Some people even say it's their worst nightmare. Suddenly Leo saw something and stopped. He looked at a truck and asked Zap, what's that? Zap replied, what do you mean? It's a regular truck. Surprised that Leo saw it like that because Leo saw it as a group of monsters disguised as humans using illusion. One of the monsters noticed that Leo could see their real form, so Leo ran away quickly. Zap called Chain and told her what happened so she could track them. Suddenly one of the monsters appeared next to them and injured Zap. He told Leo, looks like you're the only one who can see us, and spoke into a communicator to another monster named Shoboroba, saying, there's someone who isn't affected by your illusion. I think he'll be a great subject for your experiments. Zap tried to hold Leo back but couldn't from the pain, so the monster took him and left. On the other side, Chain was tracking the vehicle Zap mentioned, but unfortunately, Shoboroba changed its form, and she lost the trail. Inside the truck, Leo asked the monster, who are all these people around me? He replied, they're our food, and we wrap them to keep them fresh. Leo was shocked and said, eating humans is banned under the Chrysler-Galladona Treaty. The monster replied, that's why we put in all this effort, you idiot. Shoboroba entered and laughed. Leo told him, you won't get away with this, and he replied, how not? You're the only one not affected by my illusion, and opened Leo's eye to look into it and was surprised to see the great eye. He said, I can't wait to finish the job so I can dissect you. When they left him alone in the room with Sonic the monkey, Leo opened his eye to see where they were and found a very thick fog. He felt hopeless because he was depending on the others to save him and felt like he hadn't changed from his old self. Meanwhile, Chain visited Zap in the hospital, and the doctor called Steven from her phone, saying, this patient has something strange about him. He's scaring the nurses. Every time we give him blood it disappears instantly. Steven was happy because that meant Zap tied his lighter to the monster's truck with a blood thread. At the same time, Leo used his eye's ability to make what he saw appear in front of the monsters and control what their eyes could see. He grabbed Sonic and looked at him, and the monsters were confused by what they were seeing. Klaus and the others got ready to follow Zap's blood thread. Steven explained to Chain the reason for the blood disappearing, and that the technique he was using was an advanced one that required extreme focus to the point he couldn't do anything else but track the truck, and once Zap wakes up and ignites the thread, it'll be your turn. Chase them no matter what, and we'll track your position and come fast. The monsters entered the room and asked Leo, "What are you doing? And what's this monkey?" They choked him to stop him from what he was doing and decided to kill him since all they needed was his eye. Leo told them, "Get ready, idiots," and activated his eye again, reaching all their eyes, even the one in the truck, making it swerve and crash. At the same moment, Zap woke up and ignited the thread, and Chain dashed after the flame at insane speed. Klaus and the others tried to catch up in the car. As soon as the flame reached the monsters, it burned them. Klaus and the team arrived, and Steven attacked the first monster and took it down. Klaus jumped in with his blood spear and attacked them all. Afterwards, they took Leo to the hospital, and when he woke up, Steven told him they found 19 missing people and arrested 3 monsters and their truck for breaking the treaty, and most importantly, they discovered a new kind of magic they didn't know before. And let's not forget Zap's great achievement. He asked Klaus, "Did you assign Zap as Leo's bodyguard from the start?" Klaus replied, "I offered him, but he refused." Steven laughed and told him, "You need to work on your skill of winning people's hearts and minds. Did you really think Zap would agree to something like that so easily?" And that's when Leo realized Zap was doing all this for him the whole time and that he just thought Zap was annoying him. After a while, Leo's condition got better, and the doctor told him he'd be able to leave after a few more days of monitoring. Some time later, Leo went out to sit in the hospital garden and noticed something strange. He started walking and found himself in the hospital cemetery and thought to himself, "This place feels so gloomy." Suddenly, a strange girl appeared, laughed, and told him, "That's why no one comes here but me. But honestly, living in fear of death is pointless, because in the end, everyone dies." Leo asked her, "Who are you?" She laughed and said, "My name is White. I'm a ghost. What do you say we be friends?" Leo pulled out the camera to take her photo and said, "You showed up in the picture just fine." She replied, "I like you," and jumped on him. Suddenly, he woke up in his dorm terrified to find a huge monster next to him. The landlord entered and said, "What a brilliant scene. I won the whole block in the auction. I'm turning this place into a luxury hotel," and showed him the contract saying, "Forced eviction is part of your lease, so I hope you don't mind." Leo was shocked, and the landlord told him, "You've got 40 seconds to pack." He went to the Libra HQ where Klaus was playing on the computer. Leo lay down on the couch. Steven heard from Klaus what happened at Leo's place and said, "Shouldn't we raise his salary? We know he sends part of it to his home already." Klaus said, "I offered, but he said he didn't want more than usual." Zap walked in and sat on top of Leo while he was asleep and said he had a fight with someone who took a weird drug and jumped him like a lunatic. And the weird thing was that he cut his carotid artery and he didn't die. They asked, "Was he human?" He replied, "Yeah, I've never heard of a drug that numbs someone after getting their neck sliced." Steven said, "There's a new advanced drug that temporarily changes human functions and boosts sensory awareness, muscle strength, and flexibility. 1 gram costs billions, and smuggling it out will be a bigger problem." Chain came in with camera footage of a gang selling that drug. Steven told her to investigate them, then told Zap to track the dealers as much as he could. Suddenly, Zap noticed Sonic staring at him weirdly and remembered he was sitting on Leo and thought he'd stopped breathing, then found he was still alive. After searching for info about the drug, they found nothing. On the other side, Klaus went to a woman named KK, and they both traveled to the other world. On their way, they met a very important man named Oritsenko. Klaus was surprised he was in such a dangerous place and told him, "Please leave, a normal human like you shouldn't be here." Oritsenko replied, "You must mean someone else," and walked away. Oritsenko and his crew entered the same castle Klaus and KK had entered. It was the palace of Don Arlalil Irika Falgrausch, one of the other world's lords. Arlalil told Oritsenko, "Glad you came, my new friend." A Prosphere game board appeared in front of him and he said, "Let's enjoy a game." The Prosphere is a board game like chess, created in the other world, with fans among humans and monsters alike, and it's known for having rules that change depending on the competitors' levels. Klaus had been studying and training on it for a long time for this day. He shouted, "Wait, Arlalil. Mr. Oritsenko is important to humanity. If he loses his mind, it'll be a great loss for our world, so please stop him." Oritsenko silenced him and said, "Don't talk like I don't exist. I came here knowing the risks, so know your place, and besides, you assumed I'd lose. No human is better than me at this game." Arlalil laughed and opened the game room portal. Before Oritsenko entered, Klaus told him, "Forget about beating him." KK got mad because he didn't understand the danger he put himself in. Before the match began, Arlalil asked Oritsenko, "What's your wish?" He replied, "First, I want nuclear weapons for my country." Arlalil said, "Then the match will last 9 hours. If you survive till the end, win or draw, I'll give you what you want." Oritsenko added, "Also, I want you to eliminate the man and woman outside. If they say I was here, I'll get in trouble." Arlalil said, "Okay, I'll add another hour. But if you lose, I'll take the rest of your life." Meanwhile, KK tried to reassure Klaus that Oritsenko would be okay because he had entered 4 times and came back alive. Klaus said, I didn't come back alive. I barely held on till the end and came out from deep within. The prosphere gets more complex the tougher the competition becomes, and the difficulty multiplies. When I told him to forget winning, it wasn't just nonsense, and I believe no one can beat Arlalil at prosphere. The match began and they both moved their pieces fast, until Oritsenko started to feel the heat rising and things got harder. Suddenly, Arlalil pulled Oritsenko out half dead and said, it's a shame I beat you 2 minutes before the time was up. Before he killed him, Klaus stopped him and said, please forgive my rudeness, and I humbly ask that you fulfill the deal after our match. Arlalil agreed because of his bond with Klaus and said, if it were anyone else, I'd have refused, but we'll play for 99 hours, and I'll spare him if you manage to entertain me that long. Klaus agreed and they started the match. Arlalil asked, what's your main wish for coming here in the first place? Klaus asked for information about the drug sources and smuggling routes. Arlalil said, I expected that. If you play with me for 99 hours, I'll fulfill your wish. On the other side, Oritsenko asked KK, why hasn't he come out yet? She replied, stupid question, because he's not going to lose. Oritsenko was surprised because Arlalil told him he'd been playing that game for 1,200 years, and he asked how Klaus could challenge such a being for 99 hours straight with no rest. She replied, Klaus is our great leader, a man like no other, stubborn to the core and full of energy. Klaus began to get more exhausted and sweat heavily. The room temperature rose. Arlalil used a piece he hadn't touched in ages due to lack of competition and said, my attack will continue for at least 36 hours from now. Arlalil thought about Klaus and didn't understand why he risked his life for someone else without hesitation. The secret info he sought was so valuable it could decide the world's fate. He asked himself why Klaus carried all these burdens. Then he asked Klaus, do you regret this? Klaus replied, never. He asked, why? Klaus said, because I decided not to. Klaus began to nosebleed from the intense focus, effort, and pressure. Arlalil said, you're risking your life right now to save someone who asked me to eliminate you. That's ridiculous, right? Klaus kept playing and replied, people are weak, and because of their weakness they act without self-respect. But what's the harm in that, my friend? Even if I carry 1,000 burdens, that doesn't justify disrespecting my life. Arlalil decided to end the match and pulled him out. He said, I'll tell you the info you want about the drug, and freed Oritsenko as he promised Klaus. On the way back, KK called her squad and gave them the location of the drug dealers and smugglers, ordering them to storm the place with full force. The rest of Libra didn't know how Klaus found out the info about the drug and the dealer's location, and when Leo told them it had to do with the game Klaus played on the computer, no one believed him. Steven told him, well, anything is possible in this world. Leo was sitting with White, and she was holding his camera flipping through it, and saw a strange photo and told him, looks like you've got sharp vision. The next day, Leo rode a train and saw glowing people through the window. Someone replied, to the locals here, 50% are beings from the other world, 20% are unidentified, and 25% are humans, but half of them aren't normal. Leo was surprised and asked, and the remaining 5%? He replied, normal eyes can't see them, and they're extremely dangerous, then revealed crimson wings. Leo arrived at Libra's party and sat down without understanding anything happening or what they were saying. Klaus told him, looks like you're still not used to this city. Leo replied, speaking of that, today on the train, I saw someone with beautiful crimson wings. Suddenly the music stopped and everyone gathered around him with full attention. Steven pulled out a crimson-colored paper and asked him, same color as this? Leo said yes, and everyone got annoyed. Zap said, let me tell you something, you miserable rookie, what you saw today was a vampire. Leo was shocked, and Klaus told him they're noble creatures with crimson wings as written in history books, and research confirmed their existence, but they're still a rare unseen phenomenon. KK said they must be hiding somewhere, which makes them different from the trash living outside. Klaus said the quantity and quality of information would rise quickly thanks to Leo and his eye, so we need a specialist. Everyone got bothered and asked, are we really bringing that guy? Steven said, he'll probably show up on his own without us calling him. Leo asked Zap, who are you talking about? Zap got startled and bit his tongue in fear. Meanwhile, Abrams arrived at the airport and suddenly a plane exploded behind him. At the same moment, Zap told Leo, his name is Lucky Abrams. In short, he's the world's top expert on vampires, even the president calls him a mentor. Suddenly Abrams appeared and called out to Zap. A massive truck came speeding toward him, but a monster hit it away, a bottle hit Zap's head, and a metal piece fell on Leo's head. Abrams said, this city is as dangerous as ever. He took them to Libra's HQ. Klaus told him, I figured you'd come when I saw the news about the crash landing at the airport. Zap asked Leo, now do you get what I meant by Lucky Abrams? Because he was cursed by vampires, and though he was born with good luck that protects him from any harm, the curse causes destruction around him. Abrams opened his suitcase, revealing a vampire's hand. He told Leo, I want you to look at this with your great eye. This is an important artifact related to the group of the Undying 13. our organization faced one of them once and lost an entire battleship, and as mockery, he made 343 corpses into a pile. We lost 47 elite agents just to get the paper this hand is holding. Even though it's separated from the body, it's still gripping the paper tightly, and asked Leo to read it without the hand letting go. He told him, the paper probably contains the true names of the undying 13, and the thing they hate the most is having names. Leo opened his eye, and the words began to appear in front of him. Suddenly, he collapsed in shock, and when he opened his eye again, he saw sparks of light increasing rapidly. Later, they rode a train heading to the other world. On the way, Zap saw a skull through the window about to hit the train, then suddenly it was smashed by a falling meteor. He screamed in Abram's face, "I've never seen anything like that." Abrams replied, "Relax, we're on the train. This kind of thing isn't rare in this city." Zap snapped, "No, that's definitely rare." Zap looked at Leo and asked Abrams, "Is he gonna be okay?" Abrams replied, "He's probably just tired from work. Most likely he's seeing things we can't see. Now we're going to uncover the vampire's hideout." As they were going down the stairs, a giant metal object fell on them, and Klaus caught it and moved it away, making Zap more afraid of Abrams. They arrived at the place Abrams suspected to be the vampire's den, the Eternal Pit. Zap started filming a documentary of what was happening. Before Leo looked into the pit, Abrams told him, "Close your eye if you feel anything wrong. No, keep trying till your last moment. No, keep pushing until the moment you're about to die, even if it's just one of them or all 13 below. Just confirming their existence is enough." Leo opened his eye and suddenly saw tons of sparks and a massive number of crimson wings. He felt severe pain in his eye, and it started bleeding. He said, "This is bad, the whole pit is crimson. It's not just 13, there's way more than that." Klaus received a call from Gilbert, who told him, "We got a help request from the FBI, and a lot of agents are currently fighting at the station route. They're probably up against 2 vampires, and they said your help specifically is needed. Return quickly." Steven and KK arrived. KK told the police, "Don't send any more soldiers to the station." The police were surprised they entered without armor or protection. When they got inside, they found many bodies. KK told Steven, "I can't believe I'm here with someone as cold as you." He replied, "It's better than raiding a vampire's den." She said, "I've waited 3 years for this moment," and he replied, "As for me, I was hoping this day would never come." They came across 2 bodies of armored officers. KK used blood bullet arts, and Steven used frozen blood style. With a single strike from both, they took them out. But more appeared, and the vampires were watching them fight the corpses. Chain was standing by, recording the scene. Elsewhere, Zap threatened the monster train to go faster. Klaus was watching what Chain was filming on her phone. Suddenly, a vampire appeared next to Steven while he was fighting a corpse. He backed away quickly, and KK fired a shot at her, but it had no effect. Leo wondered how they lived in peace all this time with these beings among them. The vampire extended her hand and broke KK and Steven's bodies. Klaus got furious and crushed the phone. Leo saw through his eye the massive amount of power and rage coming from Klaus at that moment. Meanwhile, White was in the hospital cemetery holding a photo of a place she took from Leo's camera. The person Leo saw on the train with the crimson wings appeared and said, "This brings back memories." "Did he take that photo?" she asked. "What do you want?" He replied, "His eye is real." Back on the battlefield, the vampire told them, "I'm disappointed. I heard you were human weapons built to fight us, but you've got a long way to go. Your blood really harms our cells, and you're supposed to be our enemies, but we recover fast." Steven replied, "No problem, you beast. Even if it takes 1,000 years or 1,500, humanity will beat you one day, and the day will come when we'll make the impossible possible and kill immortals like you." Klaus's train passed by them, and he appeared at the same moment on the roof above. He used the brain grid technique and dropped down on the first vampire, blowing him up. He quickly grabbed the other vampire and said, "I'll seal you, hate me, forgive me, or surrender. In all cases, I'll wipe you out for humanity's sake," and sealed her in a metal plate. Leo thought to himself, since that moment, no one spoke a word. "We saw with our own eyes the power of the immortal bloodline, and deep underground, there are thousands of them. We survived today, but we don't know what will happen tomorrow." He saw Klaus and the others walking ahead, with anger radiating from them, and understood they'd never give up. He remembered when he was on the train and asked the guy who told him about vampires, "You can see them too?" He replied, "Maybe. Wanna guess what kind I am?" and suddenly vanished in front of him. Later, Leo went to White, and she told him, "I'm not going back." He replied, "But everyone's looking for you," and she insisted on her decision. Meanwhile, the vampire Leo met on the train, whose name is Black, called Femt and said, "I'm your friend, the King of Despair." The next day, Leo was in the hospital in White's room, and she was angry at him. He asked her why, but she wouldn't answer. That night, he went to the cinema alone and watched a romantic film but didn't understand it either. The following day, he was with Zap buying stuff, and he kept thinking about White. Zap asked him, "You distracted because of a woman or what?" Leo replied, "Even if that's the case, you're the last person I'd ask for advice on something like this." They got on the motorcycle, and they were supposed to head to the meeting, which was in about a minute. But Zap insisted they grab food in just 5 seconds. Leo told him it's impossible, but Zap ignored him. So Leo used his eye to show him an alternate path and make him take it. But Zap resisted and moved randomly. A huge truck passed by them and almost ran them over. But suddenly a monstrous vehicle much larger than it appeared and ate it, causing an explosion. It began chasing Zap and Leo, and Zap tried to escape with all his speed. Steven saw them on the news and went with Klaus to a man they had in custody because of his dangerous powers. As soon as he saw them, he welcomed them excitedly. That man's name was Dog Hummer. They released his restraints, and Abrams told him, Aligura is back. Dog looked at him confused and didn't remember her. Abrams told him, she's the woman who messed with your body and one of the 13. As soon as Klaus released him, some blood came from Dog's hand and grabbed Abrams' hand, transforming into a beast and greeting Abrams. Abrams threatened him with an injection that would clot his blood. Dog told him, stop it, Deldro, you're my blood. If you get hurt, I'm the one who suffers. Deldro asked, is what you said true? Abrams said, yes. Aligura's coming to take you because you're her masterpiece. Meanwhile, Chain saw Zap and Leo being chased by the vehicle and just watched, wishing them luck escaping. Suddenly, Leo was thrown off the bike and clung onto the monster truck. Zap called him, and Leo said, I'm not dead yet. Aligura appeared, saw Leo clinging on, and recognized him as the one with the great eye, so she pulled him into the vehicle. On the other side, Black was waiting for Aligura to meet him, but Femp came instead and said, Aligura's busy, so I came in her place. At the same time, Aligura showed Leo a photo of her lover and told him, he was a terrible, cold, and harsh man, but that's what made me love him, though he wasn't good looking. But one day, I met another man who was incredibly handsome, and that man was Dog. She continued, one had a great personality and the other was beautiful, so I fused them. I took my lover, cut up his body, and ground it. I took my handsome lover, drained all his blood, and filled him with my first lover's blood. Leo was terrified of her. She said, but then this guy named Klaus came and took him from me. He asked, so you took me hostage for that? She slapped him and said, why would I do that? He asked, don't you want to use my eye to find your lover? She answered, no, I don't need your eye to find him. Who do you think I am? That's my man, so I'll use my own power to bring him back. If I rely on someone else's power, it means nothing. Klaus and the others arrived. Aligura came out and found Dog. Dog remembered the operation where she injected him with her lover's blood, Deldros. He jumped off the vehicle toward Aligura, and the blood gathered around him, transforming him into Blood Hummer. He struck Aligura's vehicle with all his strength and stopped it, but the recoil launched him far away. Black saw Dog flying and told Fempt, I hope Aligura doesn't kill the boy with the great eye. Fempt was surprised that Black cared about someone. Meanwhile, Deldro told Dog, plant your foot when you punch, basic combat. If it weren't for my protection, you'd be dead. At the same time, Leo begged Aligura to let him go. She said, no, I need you, and asked him, do you have a lover? He replied, no, and she began pressuring him, hitting him. He told her, there's a girl I got close to recently. She got excited to hear more, but he said, that's it. She tortured him and told him, confess to her. He said, no way. Her vehicle started moving again. Meanwhile, Deldro and Zap stood in their positions as part of Klaus's plan. Deldro asked Dog, why'd you attack the vehicle earlier? You had forgotten about Aligura, and I was surprised you suddenly jumped her. Dog replied, but you also rushed in with full force back then, right? If that's what you want, then I'm with you, because we're one and the same. At the same time, Aligura released a swarm of flying beasts. Leo tried to think of how to escape. Aligura kept torturing him more and more. Suddenly, Steven spoke to him through the earpiece and told him, don't reply aloud. 1 cough means yes, 2 means no. He told him, the monster vehicle you're in, we're about to destroy it. But we have no chance of success if we hit it from the front, so we're going to slice it up now. We need you to take control of its vision and redirect its path. Leo did what he said. KK stood on a rooftop with a sniper and started taking out the flying monsters. Steven used his frozen blood on the vehicle's wheels. Klaus intercepted it and did something to launch it off the ground. Deldro prepared to destroy it, and Dog noticed the strike wouldn't work. He told him, gather all the blood in your fist. So he gathered the blood in his fist and struck the vehicle with a powerful punch, shattering it into pieces that fell all over the city. Chain jumped to catch Leo before he hit the ground from a great height. Meanwhile, Black told Fempt, I'm leaving, don't forget to deliver my message to Aligura. The next day, the doctor told Leo, you needed 5 stitches, so take care of yourself. Later, Leo went out and saw White, so he hid. When he tried to leave, Sonic stopped at the hospital door and wouldn't move. Leo walked away without him but suddenly turned back and went to White and said, wanna go to the movies with me? He took her with him even though she'd get scolded for leaving the hospital. She told him, surprised, it's not like you to invite me, looks like the torture worked. They watched a comedy together, and everyone was laughing, except them. Suddenly, White started crying and apologized. He tried to comfort her and said, I'm the one who should apologize. I didn't know the comedy would be this sad. She told him, I also felt like crying because it reminded me of my family. In my family, my little sister is the strong one, and even though I'm the older brother, I cause her so many problems. I'm really pathetic. She said, no, you're not, you're a kind person. The next day, in Gotham District, an area inside Hellsalem's lot considered part of the remains of old New York, and covered with a surface that isolates it from the fog, the area was also separated from the residents of the other world. Leo was there at a restaurant buying food. When he stepped outside, he looked at the surface above and wondered how much it costs to maintain something like that. Suddenly, he saw a small creature get hit by a car and fly toward the sidewalk. He rushed over to check on it, and the creature got up and said, "Can I have a bite of your food?" Leo was surprised. It was a beggar. Leo asked, "The important thing is, are you okay?" The creature replied, "Don't worry, I don't have bones like humans, my body's like rubber," and asked for Leo's burger. The driver who hit him got out of the car, really angry because the creature had jumped out in front of him and was now just sitting there begging like nothing happened. Then he remembered he had some food in the car and gave it to him. The creature was thrilled, but Leo was upset because the man gave him food that was already eaten. The man told him he doesn't care, and that cop over there is pretending like he didn't see what just happened. The man's assistant told Leo, "We're delivery workers, and if we're late because of this, they'll make us pay for the loss." Leo went back to HQ and found Zap on the ground with shoe prints on his face after Chain dropped on him from the ceiling. He told Leo, "You're really late," and they started eating. Leo noticed the restaurant stopped putting the superhero badge on their meals, which used to be good promotion and something kids collected, Leo included. Zap said, "Maybe it's because you ordered takeout. Probably the restaurant doesn't want creatures to be seen eating their food outside the district. It's because some dumb humans complain and say the meals are animal food." Leo asked, "What do you mean?" Zap was surprised by the question even though Leo was already used to the place, and he told him, "From the outside world's perspective, the beings of the other world are just monsters, so of course they won't accept them easily." Leo got really upset by that and went to see White. When he told her the story, she said, "Of course it's true," and asked, "What, you attended a humanitarian seminar or something?" He said, "No, it was a burger session." She noticed he was genuinely upset and told him, "The world never lived in peace, even when there were only humans, but there are good people among both humans and those from the other world. The problem is there's no mutual understanding." Leo was walking when he saw the mushroom-like creature again. The creature greeted him and said, "Hey, it's the guy who didn't give me his burger." Leo was upset he remembered him that way and asked, "Do you live around here?" He replied, "No, I live on Desolake Street." Leo was surprised. It was really far. Then the same delivery driver who hit the creature before showed up, and the creature got excited thinking he brought food. But Leo got really angry when he saw the man was charging the creature 4 times the real price. He told the creature they were scamming him, but the creature ate the food quickly and didn't care at all. After they left, Leo told him, "You could have bought 16 meals with that money." The creature said, "I know, but no human is gonna go spend their dollars to get food from me. The restaurant might be right in front of me, but behind the barrier, it's a world farther than the moon." Leo said, "From now on, I'll get your food." The creature got excited and asked, "How much will I pay you in return?" Leo got upset and said, "You won't pay me anything. I just can't accept the situation." Leo told him his name, and the creature said, "My name's Nay." Days passed, and every day they ate burgers from the same restaurant together. One day, Leo found the superhero badge from the restaurant and showed it to Nay. Nay got excited and took it from him. Leo told him, "If you were in elementary school, your mom would be mad at you for doing that." Nay got upset and asked, "Do you have a mom?" Leo said yes. Nay said, "I have no memories of mine." Leo asked, "Did you get separated when you were little?" Nay replied, "I know who she is, but neither of us remembers the other." Leo said, "You probably don't remember her because you were young." Nay replied sadly, "But my mom doesn't even remember giving birth to me." That night, the same delivery workers who hit Nay before were in the car, terrified because their boss threatened to kill them if they didn't pay their debt. Suddenly, they hit someone again, and when they got out, they found it was Nay again. One of them started punching him with full force repeatedly until Nay's head started to turn red. People gathered around, surprised that these creatures had blood and felt pain like humans. Suddenly, Nay exploded, releasing gas that made everyone lose consciousness, except one of the delivery men who was wearing a gas mask. He carried his partner to the car and they sped away. The next day, Leo was waiting for Nay like he did every day, but he didn't show up. Meanwhile, the masked driver was telling his co-worker what happened, but he didn't remember hitting the creature at all. At the same time, Chain told Steven what happened. Steven said, "If no one got hurt, we'll say it was just a sleep effect." She replied, "No, all the victims lost parts of their memories." Steven said, "I take that back, this is actually a serious case. If it was intentional, who knows how many crimes could happen that no one would remember." Leo overheard and rushed to check on Nay but couldn't find him. He asked around, but no one could help. Then he remembered Nay had said he lived on Desolake Street. He ran there quickly and found Nay calling out to him. He angrily asked, "Where have you been?" Nay said, I was sleeping. Leo felt relieved that he didn't forget him. Nay pulled out the paper Leo gave him with the restaurant badge and said, "Look, I found this in my pocket and don't know where it came from." He was excited about it like it was his first time seeing it. Leo got worried, and suddenly someone hit Leo on the head and knocked him out. When he woke up, he was tied up, and the delivery guys were beating Nay with a baseball bat. The one who had lost his memory asked the one hitting him, "Are you sure this will settle our debt?" He replied, "Once we extract the powder from this mushroom, we can do anything. I was the only one who saw what happened when everyone passed out, and thinking about it now, I regret not taking everything from their pockets." But he didn't understand much because he had memory loss, and he kept hitting. Nay's head started turning red again. Leo shouted for them to stop, but they ignored him because he was tied up and couldn't do anything. The guy hitting Nay said, "Don't worry, when the mushroom releases the powder, he'll forget everything." Nay was shocked and asked, "Is what he's saying true?" Leo said, "I don't know anything about this either, but think of your mom, you probably forgot about her too." Nay's head slowly returned to normal. They started hitting him again. Leo got really upset and tried to free himself but couldn't. Nay told him, "Don't worry, I can handle it. I just don't want to forget you, so let's eat burgers together again later." Leo got angrier, and his eye activated. He took control of their vision, made them remove their masks, and they collapsed. One of them got furious, grabbed the bat, and hit Leo with full force. Nay got enraged for Leo's sake, and his head turned bright red, releasing the powder. The next day, Leo woke up in the hospital, not remembering anything except that he'd had an accident and memory loss. He didn't even remember the Libra members who came to visit. When Leo left the hospital, he went to buy a burger and unconsciously ended up buying 2 meals. He felt like he hadn't been to that restaurant in ages since he couldn't recall anything from the past 2 weeks. As he walked, eating the burger, he suddenly started crying and didn't know why. Suddenly, the same scene repeated. Nay ran across the street and got hit by a car. He got up like nothing happened and told Leo, "Give me a burger." Leo was shocked again that he was a beggar and asked, "Have we been through this scene before?" Nay said, "It's the first time I'm seeing you now." Leo gave him the burger and introduced himself. Nay did the same. Later, Leo went to White's room and found Black there. He was surprised and asked, "Are you the guy I met on the train?" He replied, "No." White told him, "That's my brother," and he introduced himself, saying, "Call me Black." The next day, Leo went with Black to a restaurant. Black told him, "I've heard a lot about you and wanted to meet you, but the timing was never right." Then Leo asked Black about White's illness and said, "She told me herself, but I want to understand more from you." Black replied, "Her heart is weak, but it's been stable recently." Leo felt really stupid for asking that on their first meeting. Black continued, "She's childish and super selfish. I'm sure you noticed she's hard to deal with." Leo replied, "That's not true. I have a little sister too, so I'm used to it, and she always mocks me." Black said, "My sister always beats me in fights because I'm just a short guy with glasses. I used to get bullied at school and White always supported me every time. Every time I felt so pathetic I wanted to die, but somehow I survived." Leo got emotional and said, "I get you," then felt awkward because his reaction was weird. But he went on, "Don't worry about those things too much. One of my bosses always calls me shrimp, but I decided not to care." Black laughed and told him, "You're right," and thanked him for the advice. Suddenly, Vivi spilled her coffee on Leo, but strangely it froze midair. Vivi thought Leo did it, but he told her it wasn't him. Then Black lost control and the coffee fell on Leo. He thought to himself, "Sorry, it's an inherited ability in my family, but I'm not good at it." On the way back, Leo was thinking about Black and told Sonic, "I know people like him exist, but I didn't expect to meet one this soon, and since he denied meeting me on the train, then I must have met someone else." When he arrived at HQ, he found Zap attacking Klaus as usual. Klaus calmly left his cup hanging in the air, punched Zap, then grabbed the cup again. The next day, Leo entered HQ and was surprised it was quiet. He asked, "Where's Zap?" Steven replied, "You're right, I haven't seen him at all today." Chain said, "I think he finally gave up and quit." Suddenly, Leo's phone rang. It was Zap. He answered and saw a video call with people holding swords to Zap's face. Zap cried to Klaus, "Please save me, boss, they're gonna kill me." Klaus grabbed Leo and rushed to the location. Meanwhile, a monster asked Zap, "You think your night's gonna come?" Zap replied, "Of course," then said to everyone around him, "You lowlifes thirsty for entertainment. The best guest is about to arrive." Klaus arrived outside and told the guard, "My friend's inside," but the guard wouldn't let him in. So Klaus punched him and was let in. When they entered, they found an underground fighting arena. Zap told the arena boss, "Osmaldo, he'll cover my debt, right?" Osmaldo replied, "Depends on tonight's bounty and your effort." Suddenly, the crowd pushed Klaus into the ring, and the announcer welcomed him. Klaus told him, "Sorry for interrupting your business, but I'm just here to get my friend back." But the announcer ignored him and said, "There are 2 rules, no weapons, and all fights are one-on-one. You'll meet Zap if you perform well in the matches." Klaus got mad and was about to hit the announcer. The announcer warned him, "You don't even know where Zap is. If you kill me, he might take a bullet to the head." Klaus threw his weapon to the ground. The whole crowd got excited. They'd never seen a Libra member before. The first fighter entered the ring. His name was Gregor. He told Klaus, "You seem rattled, but try to focus. Your life's on the line." Klaus removed his glasses and decided to take it seriously. Before he moved, another beast entered and smashed Gregor. It stood before Klaus and said, "No one wants to see puny humans trading weak punches. Humans should be crushed by monsters." Meanwhile, Zap told Osmaldo, "Call an ambulance now." Osmaldo asked, "Why are you worried? Your boss will survive, don't worry." Zap replied, "I'm sure he will, but I wasn't talking about him." At lightning speed, Klaus struck the creature's joints and slammed it to the ground. The crowd was blown away, and Osmaldo was impressed that Klaus precisely hit the monster's joints inside its shell. That monster had been the ring's star. When Klaus tried to leave, the crowd booed, yelling, "Keep going." At the same time, Leo was sneaking around to look for Zap. He ran into Gregor, who said, "No entry here," but noticed Leo came in with Klaus and asked, "You know Zap?" Leo said, "Just as I suspected. Zap's behind all this." Gregor reassured him that Klaus was strong and they had a good doctor in case anything happened. Leo stood there, watching the matches and forgot about Zap. Klaus won match after match, and the crowd was loving it. Suddenly, Zap noticed Osmaldo was gone. He looked at the ring and saw him walking in to face Klaus. The whole audience was shocked. The arena boss was stepping into the ring himself. Osmaldo greeted Klaus and challenged him to a fight. He lunged at Klaus, who matched him with punches. Osmaldo figured out Klaus's fighting style. It was like a warrior with a shield. He defended with his left and prepared his right to strike. He also noticed Klaus didn't kick, grab, or throw. His fighting was simple, no tricks, and his discipline didn't waver. Osmaldo rushed him confidently, sure he'd win. They traded rapid punches until Klaus suddenly changed tactics and punched him straight in the face, smashing his head. Everyone was stunned when blood flowed out of Osmaldo's head in the shape of a person. He said, "For the record, I was just using that corpse. I didn't kill him." Leo's eye activated, and he warned Klaus that Osmaldo was a vampire. The blood moved closer to Klaus, and Osmaldo said, "If I hadn't done this, I wouldn't have had fun with you guys," then blasted Klaus away. Afterwards, Zap pretended to thank Klaus for saving him and said he was really in trouble. Surprisingly, Klaus believed him, and Leo was frustrated that Klaus fell for it so easily. Zap tried to attack the boss while he was exhausted from all the fights, but still couldn't land a hit. Later, Leo saw Black walking toward the hospital and offered to take him. On the way, they saw Halloween was about to start. Black said, "In my country, people often dress as ghosts for Halloween." Leo replied, "Speaking of that, White told me once that she's a ghost. Looks like that joke is common for you guys." Black was shocked by what he said and got upset. When they arrived at the hospital, Black asked Leo to go to White's room and take care of her. Before he left, he said, "White might say weird things, but she's a normal, kind girl, so please be kind to her." Leo assured him he would and walked away. Black went to an alley, picked up a blue jacket, put it on, and entered Fem's place. Fem was surprised and asked, "What's the occasion for this visit?" Black replied, "No reason." Then he silenced all the noisy monsters around and said, "I'm the one who's going to play with Fem." We return to Black's past, where there was a huge fire, and his father told him, "William, take care of your sister Mary," and left with his wife while William held the unconscious Mary and screamed. At that time, Jerusalem's lot was known as New York, and a massive unknown catastrophe occurred, called the Great Collapse. And this disaster wasn't just for this world, it hit the other world too. Back then, sorcerers from both worlds gathered and built a barrier together to stop the Great Collapse. What they did actually halted the disaster, but gases still leak from the site. Back to the present, Black tells Leo all this and says that currently there are studies about the Great Collapse, and the sorcerers who helped stop the disaster are contributing to it. Leo is amazed by how knowledgeable he is. A young girl overhears him and says, "My parents are among the sorcerers doing that research." He puts his hand on her head and tells her, "You should be proud of them." After the girl leaves, Leo tells him, "You should be proud of your parents too." He replies sadly, "Honestly, I don't want to get more involved. What I went through, I don't want to see repeated." When Leo goes to HQ, Steven receives a call from Fong Hunter HQ telling him that a bloodline gate opened in India, and a person from the bloodline is fighting another hunter and they're headed here. Elsewhere in the city, a swarm of bats gathers and forms a person who opens a gate, and out come the two fighters. Libra heads toward the fight, and they get word that the battle is still ongoing and one of them has lost half his body. Steven says, "Looks like we're facing a high-level entity." They even gave up on killing it and asked Klaus to seal it. Zap asks, "And who's chasing him?" He replies, "We don't know, but it's clear he's not one of us." KK calls them and gives them their location. The two are destroying the city with their intense battle. KK spots a girl crying in a car while her mom passed out after hitting the steering wheel. She runs to them and fires a shot at the glass to get them out. Suddenly, an explosion happens, and they're about to die, but Steven intervenes and saves them with his frozen blood art. KK gets mad that she's on the same team with him again. Then they go to the two fighters, who are standing face to face. KK asks, "Which one is the enemy?" They look at one and see half his body missing. He says, but we can't judge by appearances in this city. So they shoot at the other one and freeze him. Suddenly, they find the other fighter chasing Zap, realizing they targeted the wrong guy. The one they froze breaks out from the ice by slicing his body apart to free himself. His body regenerates, but the other fighter extends blood threads into him to control him. Then he sets the threads on fire and burns him. But the second creature regenerates inside the flames and uses wind element to surround him with a firestorm. Steven starts worrying because they're dealing with a creature using 2 elements, which is extremely rare. From the firestorm, they find a black egg with eyes called Zen Tai Dan. The monster takes over Zap's head and speaks through him, saying, "You clearly haven't seen one of these. It's beyond your comprehension, you fools. This is the final, introverted form of bloodline members. Burn its image into your pathetic little brains." Steven says, "It's an honor to meet you, Lord of Blood Combat and founder of the Star Art of Blood Techniques, Raju Juge Shizuyoshi." He replies, "No need for praise from people who lack experience and can barely identify their enemy." Steven asks, "Was your opponent strong this time?" He replies, "Not sure, it's hard to say." Steven thinks to himself, "This man is unstable. He vanished for decades at certain times, during which high-level bloodline members were found murdered. Everyone thinks he's behind it, but he'll never tell the truth about what really happened." Juge asks Klaus, "You're the one doing the sealing techniques?" He replies, "Yes," and Juge says, "Your features are interesting, but you're still lacking for a leader." Then he tells them, "I'm taking Zap with me. He looks lifeless, never trains, lazy, and doesn't do his duties." Steven tells him, "That's true, but he's still a vital Libra member, and we can't give him up." So he says, "Fine. As a test, he must disable the Zen Tai Dan to stay with you." Meanwhile, a policeman tries to break the Zen Tai Dan, but it attacks him with strong tentacles. Zap tells them, the bloodline member inside is regenerating and attacks anyone near it. No one can carry it, it has 6 eyes, so we have to destroy them all. He tells Juge, "That's impossible." Juge replies, "At worst, you'll lose an arm or leg," and traps him and the Zen Tai Dan in a blood barrier so he can't escape. Klaus tells Juge, "That's too much for him, no matter what." Zap says, "I'll do it. If the master wants it, then he must have a good reason." The moment he thinks of activating his blood art, the egg attacks and he barely dodges. Zap thinks about the torture he'll go through training 6 months with Juge and forces himself to disable the Zen Tai Dan. He focuses all his power and attacks the egg with his blood art, blowing it up. Juge is amazed and says, "His focus is stronger than mine when I'm asleep. I must acknowledge him." He tells Zap, "You're the best of my followers," but Zap ignores him and walks away. Elsewhere, Black tells White, "Leo's a kind person. Where did you meet him?" She replies, "At the hospital. I never leave here anyway." He says, "That's not what I meant. You know what I'm trying to say. When I first met him here, he said he'd seen me before on the train. I thought he just saw someone who looked like me, but now I'm not sure if I really met him or not." White screams, "Stop. He saw someone who looks like you. That's very possible." He says, "You're right." Then he tells her about the abandoned wing of the hospital. "Don't go there again." She's upset and says, "But I love that place." He replies, "That's not a reason to lie and say you're a ghost." She answers sadly, "I'm supposed to be physically okay now." He reassures her and says, "And that should be another reason," then asks, "Remember what our family told us. We complete each other." Meanwhile, Leo stares at the Zen Tai Dan to figure out who's inside it, but he sees nothing. Chain tells him, "Then we won't be able to seal it unless we know his name." Klaus realizes from Juge that Leo can't see anything because his heart isn't in the center of his body. Chain is shocked that his other half is moving independently. Steven asks, "So we've been fighting a small part of his body and suffered this much?" Then Klaus asks, "Where's the other half?" Juge tells them, "His servant went to retrieve it and is on his way here," and Zap is shocked. Meanwhile, Black goes to his family's grave and his second half's ghost appears. Black asks, "What did you make White do?" The ghost sarcastically replies, "Don't say it like I'm a villain. In the end, she got a friend. You should thank me." Black gets angry and says, "I don't mind what you do to me, but not my sister. That was our deal." Still, the ghost denies doing anything and forces Black to sleep and takes over his body. At night, an unknown aircraft enters the city limits at high speed, and they find a monster on board with someone piloting the aircraft. At the same time, Juge tells Zap, "That junior of mine is the heir to the wind elemental branch of my star-style blood arts, and the fire elemental demon branch is yours. If you were competent and qualified, I wouldn't have had to split the elements." Zap replies, "Don't be a fool. Fire and wind need the blood to be circulated through the body from both elements separately, and you have to control them to use other blood arts, and that's beyond human ability." Juke says, "Our target is called the Eternal Void, and he wants to find his other half and merge with it." Suddenly, octopus tentacles rise from the ocean and split the plane in two, so Klaus signals Bloodhammer to launch quickly. He jumps and grabs the part of the plane with the monster's half and tries to land with it. Leo identifies part of the monster's name, so Klaus grabs him and jumps from the building, and the monster attacks him with claws, which Klaus blocks. Zap notices that this half of the monster regenerates by reversing time, and Leo is surprised that someone on the plane has a strange aura, but then he finds out the monster's full name. KK fires a stun shot at the monster with her sniper, and Bloodhammer takes Leo and leaves. Leo asks Dog, "What was that light here a moment ago?" Dog is confused because he didn't see anything, and Leo tells him there was light on the rooftop we were just on, and suddenly the building explodes. Meanwhile, at the hospital, White is in the yard and suddenly falls to the ground in severe heart pain. Elsewhere, from the destroyed aircraft, Juke's servant emerges, and when Zap sees him, he laughs and mocks him for being amphibious and having strange skin color. Then they get ready to fight, and both see each other's weapons and are amazed by them. Suddenly, the monster's half unleashes his energy at the ceiling, creating a huge hole leading to the roof, and suddenly they see the egg with the other half coming down from above. The monster's half jumps at it quickly, and the amphibian throws his spear fast to stop him. Juke and Steven are standing above. They were the ones who threw the Zentai Dan, and the second half reaches it and merges with it. Zap understands the plan and tells Steven, "You could have at least told us," then links a blood thread to the merged monster and burns him along with the amphibian. Klaus seizes the chance and jumps on him to seal him. After that, Juke praises them all for their performance in the battle but suddenly says, "I'm leaving my servant in your care. His name is Zed," then disappears, and Zed is shocked he left him and faints. We go back to the past. One day, a monster in the form of a huge blue aura attacked the city. White ran to Black to save him. He told her, "Get away, don't come here," but she approached him. The monster appeared, and Black told it, "I'll hand over my body, but don't touch my sister, don't drag her into this. If you want something, take it from me." The entire blue aura entered Black, and his eyes turned red. In the present, White wakes up with tears on her cheeks after seeing the past in a dream. She finds Black in the room, but the monster is controlling him now. He places a tool in her hand and asks her to use it to take Leo's eye, promising he'll return her brother to her forever if she brings him the eye. She tells him, "Leo is a kind person and has a sister, and they're a lot like us, and I want to stay his friend." He replies, "Impossible, forget those daydreams, the game has started and there's no backing out, and all the profits are mine." Meanwhile, Leo is sitting in HQ with paper and pen in front of him, staring at them. Klaus enters and asks, "Is this for your sister?" He replies, "Yeah, but I don't know what to write." Klaus gives him a cake and tells him, "You know, when we welcomed you here, it wasn't just because of your eye." Elsewhere, White remembers when she was young and sitting with her father. He asked her, "Why do you call your brother William Black?" She replied, "You gave me the idea, and we're opposites like Black and White." He said, "That's not what I meant." She replied, "Anyway, I'm happy with that, and Mom liked it too." He said, "It suits you both even though you look alike," and he advised her, later on, "If your brother is about to commit a sin, you must stop him." She asked him, "What do you mean by sin?" He said, "Like hurting someone or torturing an animal, for example." She replied angrily, "William would never do that." He said, "You're right, you two complete each other, and our wish, mine and your mother's, is for you to live happily." The next day, Zap, Leo, and Zed are in Vivian's restaurant, crying because they haven't had a burger in ages. Just as they reach out, the ceiling breaks and a huge metal piece falls on them. Zed quickly moves Leo and Vivian aside, and Zap ties the metal piece with blood threads. They rush outside and find Klaus, who says, "Good you're here, help me out," and they see him fighting an army of monsters alone. Going back to the day before, we see Klaus and Steven standing with a man who tells them about a gang called the Thousand Ryujioka Brothers. They're a famous mafia family causing a lot of trouble. He tells them the name, Thousand Brothers, isn't an exaggeration, because they got info saying 1,000 used power suits were exported from China. But after searching worldwide, no data was found on any recipients. He says the current theory is that Juggernaut Smith, who shipped Fur and Howler, smuggled them. And if that's true, a big event is about to go down in this city. Steven asks, "So you're asking us to help you?" He replies, "Yes, all of them will move at once, and there's 1,000 like I said, while we're very few." Steven says, "That situation will be extremely dangerous, and it's not unlikely we'll be the ones arrested in the chaos." He replies, "Fair concern, and I won't deny we considered that, but think about it, it's a huge case that everyone's heard of, and if the chaos continues, the real culprits will likely take advantage." Steven is shocked to see Klaus fired up by his words, and tells him, "You owe us big time, Lieutenant Daniel Lowe," and he says, "Of course, the proof is I haven't arrested you yet, right?" Then Steven, Klaus, and Abrams head to the Spirit Society, a powerful organization that gathered the original sorcerers who built the barrier around New York to stop the Great Collapse. Abrams says, "It's been a while, happy we're working together again." The leader of the Spirit Society arrives, his name is Eldar. Lieutenant Daniel calls Steven and tells him the missing trucks are old combat units called the Bright People's Star. They're an old but reliable model, which made them a bestseller worldwide. Naturally, this means they found 1,000 units, and the model is cheap and weak, making it perfect for a group whose strength is in numbers, but they still don't know how they'll activate them all at once. Meanwhile, Leo is with Zap and Zed, starving, and every restaurant they enter has terrible food or something happens that prevents them from eating. So they head to another place and find the cooks have killed guys who attacked the restaurant and ask, should we cook their meat for you? They obviously refuse and leave. Then they go to Vivian's, regretting trying another place. Vivian notices they look strange and tells them, leave now if someone's chasing you. They try to calm Leo and ask for food. Then Vivian tells Leo, I don't know what you're doing, but you've started hanging with the wrong crowd. I hope you don't get too involved. Your family would worry about you. Zap and Zed are shocked by her words. Then she says to Leo, but the fact you found people to eat with is a good thing. You always came here alone. Zap mocks him, but Leo realizes she's right and is happy to have friends now. Just as the food is ready, Leo and Zap cry, and before they eat, a missile from the Thousand hits them. At the same time, Abrams apologizes to the Spirit Society leader for rushing them. He tells them, I know you're the busiest among humans, and says that one of the barriers has broken. Specifically, the final barrier was broken at the location where they fought. Abrams is shocked and asks, you mean we caused it? He replies, no, that barrier can't physically be broken, so it wasn't you, but it's alarming, and that's why I called you. He tells him, since we made the barrier 3 years ago, one person was inside it and we never found their location, and the sorcerer couple we were responsible for died. We never figured out the situation or what happened, but it seems 2 people came back alive from there, the children of the dead sorcerers. One of them is now part of the sorcerer group, and the other is in the hospital. Meanwhile, Black is walking in the city and sees a girl running away, so he stops her and sees bruises on her face. She tells him, let me go, I have to escape quickly or they'll kill me. Black sees 2 monsters chasing her, so he lets her go, and the monsters get close to him, angry that he let her escape. Black says, let's play a game. I'll step aside if you win. I might even catch the girl for you. Then he asks them to guess what species he is. One of them attacks him, and suddenly his body inflates and explodes. The other monster is terrified. At the same time, Leo is in the hospital courtyard, and Black enters. White asks Leo to hand her the all-seeing eye. In the past, there was a family made up of the father Benjamin Macbeth, Emma Macbeth, and William Macbeth, and they all had magical powers. And Mary Macbeth was the only one born without any magic power, so the only flaw in the family was Mary, even though the entire bloodline were sorcerers. So the idea of a girl like that being born into a family of sorcerers was a disaster. Mary decided to judge herself and sentenced herself as guilty, but her father objected, and her mother told her, you're innocent because you're our daughter. But she saw their words as pity, nothing more, and wished they'd just told her she was useless instead of pretending. On the other hand, her brother William was always whiny and crying, and when he cried, his magic would activate and affect everyone around him. He was always bullied at school for being weak, and his sister would see it and get very upset. She always wondered how he had so much power while she didn't, even though his personality was so fragile. She kept questioning why he stopped using his magic. One day, she asked him, why don't you fight back against the bullies? He said, I don't know how to hit. She got angry and asked, then why don't you use your magic power? He replied, sorry, and she got even angrier that he apologized. She told him, what matters is that you do what I say. I can't stand seeing you get hit. He apologized again and said, you're really strong and I'm scared. She was surprised and didn't understand what he meant by being scared. One day, she told her father what was bothering her. He told her, don't worry, William is strong, and you're strong too, and that's why you care about him. But choosing not to use a power you have requires courage. Besides, he doesn't have to be a sorcerer if he doesn't want to. There are other paths. Mary got frustrated by his words and wasn't convinced. He asked her, do you even know why he decided to stop using his power in the first place? She replied, no, I don't, and then Will showed up, so they stopped talking. Mary always felt proud of her parents when they went to save the world, but as usual, she felt bad she didn't have any power like them to save the world or do something in her life. One day she found her dad's camera and started taking pictures with it to fill the wall and try to fill the emptiness she felt inside. Once her dad asked her, why don't you take pictures of yourself? She told him, that's not the purpose. I just felt like, if I die, these pictures will still be here. That night, William took the camera and secretly took a photo of her while she was asleep. The next day, some boys stopped Mary and asked her for the camera. She gave it to them without any resistance, but William saw them and got really upset. He went to stop them and told them, give it back, it's important, so they threw it toward the river, and William jumped in after it. The next day, he wakes up from fainting and finds Mary beside him, making sure he's alive. She asks him, why did you jump into the river? He replies, to catch your camera, you love it. She tells him, you could have died if they hadn't rescued you, and gets mad, telling him, you never understand anything and you don't care. I don't care about that camera, those pictures were just a cheap substitute. What matters is that you use your magic power and protect yourself. If you die, I won't be able to handle it. She starts crying loudly, and William cries too. That night in their room, William tells her that when they were little, Mary made a clay ball. It was really well made and looked great, but the one he made looked terrible, and he couldn't make one like hers. He got angry and accidentally used his power and exploded hers. Mary didn't do anything except stand there in shock, then went and made another one. William felt ashamed, and from that moment, he decided never to use his power again, so he wouldn't use it like that. Mary laughs a lot because it wasn't as serious as her dad made it sound. They laugh together, and then William tells her, "Don't ever call your photos a cheap substitute again, you took so many pictures, you must love them." He remembers the photo he took of her while she slept and brings it out to show her. He tells her, "Of course it looks bad, I didn't know how to use the camera like you," and Mary cries hard, and he thinks she's upset by how the picture looks. Suddenly, Mary thanks him and hugs him. The next day, they go to school holding hands, and Mary tells him, "If you're going to be a sorcerer, don't slack off in training." Maybe it doesn't show on mom and dad's faces, but they're very worried about what you plan to do. Until one day, the disaster happened and their world was completely destroyed. Mary runs fast to reach William, their dad, and mom. She finds William in front of her, and he warns her not to get close. Then the blue aura appears, and William says, "If you're going to take something, take it from me. Don't touch my sister." In the present, Mary gets up and tells Leo, "Sorry, but I have to get William back," and she puts the device the monster gave her on Leo's eye, and he loses consciousness. The monster takes him and leaves, and Mary feels guilty. The monster goes to the other world, dragging Leo with him, and says to himself, "You were right, sister, we're all going to die." A person's fate shows how fast this mortal life ends, and he sets up a camera and draws a massive magic circle on the ground, and forces Leo's eye to activate. Meanwhile, Mary is walking through the streets and everyone is celebrating Halloween. The monster activates the magic circle and Leo suffers greatly. Mary arrives at the cinema with Leo's camera and watches photos of his sister, feeling guilty. Suddenly, Sonic appears and asks about Leo using gestures. She feels even guiltier. Meanwhile, William's body starts bleeding from what the monster is doing and he puts extreme pressure on William's body. Suddenly, Mary feels a pain in her heart and tells Sonic, "Please save Leo." Suddenly, 4 explosions happen in the city at the same time. The monster pants from exhaustion and says, "Today's not your lucky day, all-seeing eye guy, you got caught up in all this, even a ghost haunted you. And she's not even human. The barrier placed where her heart used to be is what's keeping her alive. That was the only choice her parents had to save their dying child. That emotion is what's keeping both of us alive." William goes to his sister and tells her, "You weren't the only one who gave up back then. I did too. If there's a way to achieve the goal, I have to use it no matter what it is." And he puts her to sleep and shoots her heart to break the barrier. Femte is standing watching and says, "The second collapse. Who would have thought it'd choose this exact day? It's so funny. But won't the way back be hard over there, since the entire path will be in darkness?" And at the same time, Leo is thinking, saying to himself, "Since that day, I've been having the same dream every day, a fear that won't fade, a constant feeling of anxiety. I spend my days feeling regret and guilt, and until now, I haven't stopped trembling, and I don't move from my place, and I wake up after my emotions take over, and I never find any answers as usual, and today, I see a new nightmare." Suddenly, Femte appears in front of him and says, "Welcome to the last station of your life," and asks, "Do you know where you are, my dead friend?" Leo doesn't respond, so Femte hits him and Leo feels pain. Then Femte realizes he's alive and tricking him. On the other side, Steven tells Klaus, "We got a report from the Spirit Society that once the sorcerers arrive, they'll start repairing the damaged barrier, and they've officially asked us to help search for the last missing piece." 3 years pass that fast, or are they just 3 years? Klaus replies, "In both cases, it seems it's a reunion with the white darkness." At the same time, Deldro is very excited about what's happening, and Patrick, one of the Libra members, asks, "Is Leo okay? Won't he be in danger if they're done using him?" Abrams tells him, "No, that's exactly why he'll be fine. Look around you, gravity hasn't changed yet. 3 years ago, the whole city turned into chaos so bad that the abyssal pit flipped, and the barrier is still holding." Alder tells them the reason the barrier has held till now is the last piece, and he thinks it's Mary. Abrams is surprised. Can the barrier even be inside her? Alder replies, "Yes, the barriers and their sources of power take different forms depending on the user's style. It's possible one of the original sorcerers wove life into the barrier, even though it's forbidden, and likely, Mary and her family were in an accident during the Great Collapse. So Mary lived 3 years of her life merged with the barrier." At the same time, the King of Despair wakes up and doesn't find Mary beside him. On the other side, Abrams tells them, the King of Despair wants Leo's eye to find the barrier, so he definitely won't kill him. But everything we're doing now is pointless and Leo isn't here. Meanwhile, Leo asks Femte, "Who are you?" Femte responds, "In these circumstances, do you care who I am when you can't even see me?" Leo asks, "Are you Black's friend?" Femte asks in surprise, "You mean the vessel of the King of Despair?" "No, I just know what's inside him," and throws a metal piece at him and asks, "Engraving or writing?" "Your face says you've got a lot of questions, so I'll answer them if you win, and if you lose, you'll stay here forever." Leo gets scared, thinking he was going to say he'd kill him if he lost. Femte hits him and says, "You're going to die anyway, so why stain my hand? Either way, the result is you die here or outside, 2 possibilities with no third." On the other side, Zed asks Zap, "Aren't you worried about Leo?" Zap replies, "Why would I worry about that narrow-eyed guy?" Zed angrily says, because he's a normal person without any power. Zap suddenly stands and says, "Don't get it twisted. We're Libra, you know what that means? It means we're ready for anything to happen." On the other side, Klaus tells Steven, "Look closely at the light." Steven replies, "Didn't we say this before? You know, when I think about what happened 3 years ago, I honestly feel frustrated, but I think what happened then won't happen again today. 3 years passed since the Great Collapse, but we've definitely been working hard every day since then to improve ourselves beyond who we were." At the same time, the King of Despair wakes up and finds Fempt beside him. He asks, "Are you here to take my candy?" Fempt replies, "No, I just came to see you." Meanwhile, Leo is climbing the ladder with difficulty to return to the city. The King of Despair asks Fempt, "Did you let the child go?" Fempt replies, "He refused to play our game, said his questions were for me and that he couldn't stay here for long, so he refused to join the game." The King of Despair says, "You should have ignored him." Fempt responds, "But then it wouldn't be fun." At the same time, KK goes to Klaus and Steven and tells them, "I found the place where the video was recorded," and Chain appears to Zap and Zed and tells them, Leo is in the Central India Hospital graveyard. Meanwhile, Leo is climbing the stairs and remembers Klaus and says, "I'm sorry, Klaus. I can't see anymore," and the King of Despair says, "3 years ago, I saw the Great Collapse and it was so beautiful. That scene overturned all the emotions, values, and concepts that define a person's nature, and for the first time, I felt a happiness that confirmed hope, a beautiful dream. But luck wasn't on our side. Neither for me nor them nor the sorcerers." Fempt says, "The Fallen One, the Blue, the Demon, the King of Despair, you have many names, Watchman, but what you need is a little nonsense," and the device falls from Leo's eye, and his sight returns. On the other side, Zap tells Zed, "Leo's tough when it comes to stuff like this," and the King of Despair replies, "You're saying I need a little nonsense. That's nonsense. Our very existence is illogical to begin with." Suddenly, the King of Despair moves the city buildings like chess pieces, and very strange monsters appear. Klaus notifies all the Libra members that besides rescuing Leo, they also have to eliminate these monsters. All the members start fighting, and Fempt sits with Aligura and enjoys what's happening. The King of Despair goes to sit in the castle while the world around him is in chaos and ruin. Meanwhile, Alder and his followers try to maintain the barrier as much as they can until they find the last piece that's inside Mary. Leo comes out and sees the state of the world and is shocked by what's happening. He laughs and screams from the shock. Suddenly, Sonic appears and gives him the camera that has White's recording. Leo tells him, "You were supposed to give this to Klaus, not me, but anyway, keep it with you a little longer because there's something I have to do." And he dashes toward the castle to settle things with the King of Despair. On his way, he sees the monsters scattered across the city, and Patrick and the others show up in a truck, and behind them are flaming rocks falling down on the monsters, killing them. Abrams checks on Leo and Leo gets up to continue his path. On his way, he runs into Bloodhammer who grabs him and throws him to get him there faster. In the air, Chain catches him and checks on him. Suddenly, they see a giant rock about to fall on them, so Zed pulls him down with a blood thread to land him. Leo thanks him and runs quickly, but Zed ties him again with the thread and pulls him back. Chain tells him it's impossible to go there running and alone, but Leo says he's happy he met them, and thanks to the months he spent with them, he can go on alone. So Zed lets him go and tells him to take care and not do anything reckless. On the other side, Klaus reaches the King of Despair and asks him where William is. Suddenly, he sees a rock coming at him fast, and he stops it. Klaus grabs him angrily, and the King of Despair tells him it's a game, hero, and your role is to protect me from myself. That's the cliché hope. Klaus keeps protecting Black's body from the King of Despair. The King of Despair gets angry and lights the fire around him, and Klaus tries to stop him from hurting himself for William. At the same time, Leo runs at full speed, and suddenly, his left eye shatters for no reason. He stops, shocked, and monsters gather around him. Then Zap appears and spreads his blood threads and burns them all. Leo punches him and says he almost killed him. Leo sits crying because of what happened to his eye and because Abrams will be mad at him, and he also has to find Mary. Zap hits him to shut him up and tells him, "You either do it or die. That eye of yours is just a tool, and you'll find a fix later. Don't give up no matter what." Gilbert arrives in the car to get Leo there, and the fight between the King of Despair and Klaus intensifies, destroying buildings around them until Klaus bleeds from all over. The King of Despair tells him, "You came to take William from me, but I'm not the one who took over him. He welcomed me." Leo arrives and says, "You might be right, but your indifference toward others' souls is completely wrong." The King of Despair asks, "So what will you do? Use your eye to destroy me?" Leo responds, "I don't know, maybe that's the most logical option, but I'm still not sure if it's right or not, so I'll keep thinking as long as I live, and next time we meet, I'll have the right answer for you." Leo opens his eye and looks at the King of Despair and sees William crying, saying he doesn't want to die. Leo shouts at the top of his lungs calling for White and tells her, "As long as you're trying to take one step toward the light, your soul will never be defeated, your second self hasn't given up yet." His voice reaches White, and she opens her eyes and sees William crying and his tears falling on her, and then she finds Leo in front of her. She asks him, "Was that voice I heard from you?" He says, "I know your secrets, so don't worry. Black wants to live, and you're the only one who can save him, and as long as someone tries to take a step toward the light, defeat is impossible, and if you're afraid of the brightness of the light and can't stand, I'll hold your hand and pull you." White cries, and he tells her to get up and save the world. The King of Despair is affected and loses control over Black's body. Leo runs to him and hits him in the head and takes control of the King of Despair's eye. He starts seeing White's aura and the King of Despair disappears completely. Black opens his eyes and sees White and tells her, "I don't care what happens to the world at all. It was messed up from the start anyway. They can ignore one barrier and pretend everything's fine. The same thing will happen again anyway." White tells him, "Don't lie to me. What happened to my kind brave brother?" He says, "I don't want to lose you, but I'm helpless and have no way to save you. I'm scared, White. To me the world means nothing without you." She tells him, "If I disappear, the world won't disappear of course," and hugs him and says, "Live, Black. Don't give up on the world. You'll spend the rest of your life in that easily." Suddenly, the spiritual society finds that the last piece in the barrier responded. Black tells White, "My current power isn't enough to fix your barrier and make you stable, so give me your remaining power and I'll create a new barrier, even though I'm not sure I can do it." She tells him, "As long as you're the one making it, I'm sure it'll be fine," and a new barrier forms, and White says goodbye to William and tells him, "My hope and future are with you." Leo goes to Klaus, and Klaus tells him, "If you were a little late, I would have ordered food," then says, "Well done. In this incident, you alone saved the world. Hold your head high. I'm proud of you." Leo breaks down crying, and William says to himself, "Can you see that, White? Your knight is in a tough state but still amazing." Michelle reads, "I'm writing you this letter to end things my way, so please don't be mad at me. I want you to keep this letter for your brother, and I'm okay and I survived in this strange city where you're not here, but I survived relying on your light, and it looks like I won't see you for a while, but I promise that one day I'll tell you about the world I saw face to face. And I'll tell you my story and the story of the people who gave me hope.